Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today we are going to talk about why Andrew Yang, why specifically UBI was a failure in the 2020 U.S. presidential primary race. Okay, and and we're also going to talk about where your content goes. We're going to talk about those two things. So let's dig into it. All right, so a little bit of preliminary. Today's video is a response to a comment on yesterday's politics of the Ultimate Fighting Championship event 249. So in yesterday's video, I talked specifically about fighting styles in the UFC: grapplers, strikers, and devastators. And I said that Andrew Yang was a striker. I said that Biden was a grappler. And I said specifically that Donald Trump is the first devastator ever in American politics. And so I had a fantastic fan. His first name is Joshua. You can find his comment under the name Joshua. That's his first name. I'm not gonna say his last name because I don't call people out, without them saying so first. But you can find his comment is right there on the video on the politics of UFC 249 video, and his point was that Andrew Yang should have been a devastator. He had a devastating right hook, political right hook, which was UBI, and if he had landed the blow of UBI, if he had presented UBI in a way that he was able to sell it to the Americans, everything would have been great, and we would all have Andrew Yang as president right now, and that basically Andrew Yang had the wrong fighting style. He shouldn't have been a striker. He should have been a devastator. His amazing right hook should have been UBI, and that should have ended it, and he should have won the primary. Okay, now Biden has won the primary. Biden's a grappler. He grabs people, drags them to the ground, and just rubs their face into the establishment, and the establishment does all the work for them, right? Like, and that's what grapplers do. They take people down to the mat, and they just grind them into the ground. And the ground here in this political analogy is the establishment. The establishment will absolutely grind you down. The establishment wants safe people. They want people that they think can win. Problem is the establishment for the blue power base right now has absolutely no idea how to win. The idea that an 86-year-old president is a winning concept is absolutely ludicrous. Yes, old people vote, but not for 86-year-old presidents. That's absurd, and that's what you're signing up for if you elect Joe Biden. So I want to talk. So one, I want to respond to Joshua's concept that if Andrew Yang had sold UBI effectively to the American people, we'd have President Yang in 2021, right? It's a really big concept. But first, I want to talk about another topic that is adjacent to this, and that is, where does your content go? Okay, so if you are listening to this channel, I can tell you right now, nine chances out of 10, you are super smart and creative, right? Like, 'cause all I talk about is politics. I talk about it from the perspective of analogy, and I talk long form. My stuff's like generally 20 minutes, and I talk about things that are incredibly obscure and really off the beaten track, right? I only do content that I really feel is going to be unique and that nobody else is saying, right? So you have to be tracking to be listening to my stuff on the reg, right? So, like, 9 chances out of 10, you're a smart or a genius, or one or the other, right? Because, or just a passer through. I'm not talking to you passer through peoples. That's fine if you watch one or two videos and keep going. I totally get that. My content is not for everybody, right? But if you're a regular listener, you are smart. There's no two ways about it. And I will say, so I was really inspired by what Joshua did yesterday. He put a response to my video that was hundreds of words long. And I want to talk about this, right? When you respond to my video and your content is hundreds of words long, right? There's a few things that we need to talk about. I'm incredibly honored with that response. the idea that people would form essays, based on what I'm saying is really awesome, and I'm so appreciative of it. The fact that my content is unlocking thought in another human being is precious to me. It's the whole reason I do that. It's literally the reason I do it. My material isn't even monetized. I don't even bother, right? Because I have such a small channel relative to other people, right? Relative to some people, I have a big channel, right? But overall, in the in the YouTube world, I have a smaller channel, right? So I don't do this for money. This is literally, this is my passion project, And the fact that somebody would honor me with a really engaging, long form response is incredibly exciting to me. But I want to encourage all the people out there who have done hundreds of words of response to me. Okay, so one, that is a true honor to me. But every time it happens, I am incredibly shocked. And the reason why is that's your content, but it's put onto my channel, right? Now, here's the thing: if you have a long form response, you have two options. You have three options. You can put it in a comment the way you're doing now. You can create an article, right? If you are doing long form responses to my content, you really should have a political blog, right? And you should just put that political blog so people can see that, and then keep that response, for yourself. Just craft it as an article and let people respond to it as your content rather than it being my content, right? Because I always feel a little guilty about this, right? And one of the other issues is I'm so incredibly busy, I don't have the proper time to respond at length to these incredibly, honorific responses. And I want to apologize to everybody for that. Many of you have, dozens, have written what I consider to be articles in my comments section. But it always amazes me. And the reason why is you're writing an article in my comment section. That's your content. You should get the shine off of that, right? And the reason why I say that is I think there in this audience, there are people who are a lot smarter than me, who have better political analysis than me and less confidence. They're not doing articles and they're not doing their own channel because they lack the confidence I have, right? But they are, without a doubt, smarter and have better analysis than I do. So everybody out there, if you have ever written comments to me that are over 100, 200, 300 words long, I really want you to consider making your own blog area or your own YouTube content. Because the reality is 9 chances out of 10, it's going to be better than mine, right? Or you're going to have your own unique view. And so that's my point. The only reason I'm even bringing this up is I don't want the views and the attention for these brilliant responses to just be hidden in my content, right? I get the shine off of that right now, and I love it. It's great, but I feel bad for people who are doing that. So if you've ever done a 2, 4, 600 or more word response, and I have quite a few of them in my response, please consider starting your own political blog or your own channel. And the reason why is the only reason you don't have that right now is in my opinion, 9 chances out of 10, a lack of confidence, right? Or maybe you don't want to deal with the slings and arrows of talking about politics. I get that, right? Because it's not easy. You have to be very careful. You have to tread lightly, right? So, but comments are public, so my point is really consider doing your own YouTube channel or doing your own articles. Just wanted to throw that out there. And last thing is I just want to thank everyone who's ever done any of these article level responses to my content. I consider it such an honor, and I really want to thank you. Let's get into Joshua's point, okay? Joshua's point is that Andrew Yang should have used UBI as a devastator attack, a roundhouse that would just level a foe, right? And here's the thing. What really is nested in his point is UBI was a winning idea, but Andrew Yang didn't win with it. And there are people who are making the mistake of thinking that Andrew Yang did not properly sell UBI to the American public. I thoroughly want to dismiss this idea, okay? I will tell you right now, you will never find a better champion for UBI than Andrew Yang. And I'll tell you right now, I think Andrew Yang did a better job championing UBI, presenting it to the American public, and being an all-out supporter of UBI and creating a foundation for UBI than MLK did, Martin Luther King. Much better, okay? And the reality is he did 100 plus interviews. He wrote articles. He talked to a million plus. He talked to millions of people and explained UBI and was the best champion UBI has ever had, bar none. If you think that UBI failed because Andrew Yang didn't present it right, you ain't paying attention. No one will ever present UBI better than Andrew Yang. I'm convinced of that. Okay, so with that said, why did UBI fail? Why did it utterly fail? Right? It failed. Okay, here's why. UBI is outrageously non-intuitive. It does not make logical sense. Okay, you have got to think with, okay, I solve Rubik's Cubes. I love it, right? There are certain things you can do when you solve a Rubik's Cube. You can solve them with your mind. They're called intuitive solves. Like, you can put a piece into place with an intuitive solve. There are other things where when you need to put a piece into place, you need an algorithm. You need literally, some algorithms have 17 steps, right? And you need to do them in the right orientation, in the right sequence. And I'm telling you right now, UBI is a 17-step algorithm. It does not make sense. It doesn't, okay? People are like, I own this jacket, and that's my jacket, and it ain't your jacket, right? And UBI is like, hey, this guy over here has got 5 jackets. There's these 5 people in his community. 4 of those jackets should go over here, right? And the reality is, it's kind of true, right? If you got 5 jackets and there's 4 people in your community with no jacket, right? We're not talking communism here. There's a difference, right? But if you have 5 jackets and you have 3 on order coming from Amazon, yeah, maybe you should give 4 jackets to other people, right? But the reality is people understand pure, clear ownership. And UBI is a redistribution of wealth based on the fact that when you have reached a level of wealth that is so huge, you need to think, okay, I live in a community. Me getting this level of wealth is not coming from all me, and I need to share, right? It sounds like communism. It is absolutely not communism. And that's why Andrew Yang was incredibly careful to call it the freedom dividend, right? And repeat ad nauseum, I am a capitalist, right? And even still, UBI failed. It did not fail because Andrew Yang didn't do a spectacular job of explaining it. He did. He did the best job that has ever been done of explaining UBI. And it still failed because it's outrageously non-intuitive, right? Not only do you have to be incredibly smart to understand UBI, but you have to be an innovative thinker. And guess what? The vast majority of people are not smart and innovative thinkers. They just aren't. Right? And look at what happened. Andrew Yang got every smart, innovative thinker in America, got them all on Twitter, got them following him and giving him money, and failed because most people are not smart, innovative people. Right? And you cannot sell UBI to a world that does not accept, embrace, and love non-intuitive ideas. You just can't do it. Right? Now, that means UBI has utterly failed in 2020. Now, I hear you. I know what you're going to say. You're saying, Scott, Andrew Yang changed the conversation, and now UBI is really going to be great, and everyone's going to love it, and it's just going to grow. Well, I'm telling you now, again, you are wrong. Let's get into why, okay? 1, UBI is not great, okay? UBI in the hands of Andrew Yang is a slam dunk. UBI in the hands of anyone who hasn't studied it for 10 years, doesn't have an Ivy League economics degree, and another Ivy League degree on top of that, right? And outrageous intelligence and a noble heart is a freaking chainsaw. And if it's not used extremely carefully, UBI, in my opinion, will be massively devastating to this nation or any nation. And the reason why is it must be executed in a nuanced, perfect way. And if it is screwed up, it will slide into communism, and we will be looking at a Venezuela future, and that ain't good, right? Or a China future, and that ain't good. Or a USSR future, and that ain't good, right? No communist nation has ever had a good past, present, or future. And UBI is adjacent to communism. Smart, innovative people understand that it's not communism. But if it's not executed perfectly, it turns into communism, right? So the reality is, not only was Andrew Yang the best champion of UBI, he was a once in a probably another 10 generation thing where I'm not excited about UBI being picked up by other champions because I don't trust them. Andrew Yang had intelligence, had charisma, and had nobility. Do you know how rare nobility is in politics? It's outrageously rare. It really doesn't exist. In fact, to get a noble-hearted person into politics, you need to bring them in from outside of politics. And guess what? The next 4 years, already Andrew Yang is a CNN pundit. If you don't think that's putting sandpaper on his heart and mind, again, you ain't paying attention, right? Andrew Yang ain't going to be 4 years from now what he was now, right? This world is going to try to break him. They're going to try to snap the nobility that's in his heart and mind now off like the end of a Kit Kat, okay? And that's the key, is I don't like UBI. I like Andrew Yang bringing UBI. And if you think that that Andrew Yang did not deliver UBI in the best way, again, you are wrong. UBI is a chainsaw. And frankly, you hand it to the wrong person, that tree is going to get knocked down and it's going to take the house next to it with it. We've got to be incredibly careful with UBI. So if you're excited about Andrew Yang and you were excited about UBI, I get that. But do not be excited about UBI if it is not executed perfectly. If its nuances aren't understood, it will destroy things. And we need to be very, very careful of this. All right? Andrew Yang is awesome. Andrew Yang's UBI was awesome. UBI sucks. I will say that flat out, right? In the wrong hands, that thing will knock your house down. Seriously, right? And that's another reason why we're here, is because the reality is UBI, what under Andrew Yang, was a once in 10 generation opportunity. He had the intelligence to understand it. He had the charisma to deliver it. He had the nobility to execute it and put it in right. And the only reason it didn't win was that 51% of this country absolutely will not accept a president who doesn't have those two attributes, that simple silhouette that the first 43 presidents had. And that's the problem we got to solve. All that is my opinion and my response to Joshua. Thank you for letting me share it with you. Please consider liking and subscribing, and have a wonderful millennium.